And welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. This is Monday. Actually, we've done a little bit of housekeeping. Oh yeah, see, look at that. The top of my head on YouTube is just slightly. Well, I guess it's still on the camera. Anyway, as you can see, we're trying a new camera format here. Hopefully that's a little bit better than what we've been doing. I just have to remember, you are right there. I have to talk to you. Anyway, try my best. It is Monday. It's a holiday here today. We're screen sharing, so actually I moved the taskbar from the bottom of the screen that we're recording over to a different screen, so you can't see that right now. But anyway, 20th of February, so only a week left of this month. February sure goes by quickly, doesn't it? 2023. Yeah, market's looking a little bit heavy here still. Yeah, we're in an interesting sort of, I don't know, it's almost like a little bit of an air pocket here in the world. Because it is a holiday, stock market's closed. Don't really not too active on sort of the futures front here this morning. But I did notice, looking at the rags, you can see U.S. futures markets are pointing lower. Remember the NASDAQ kind of got beat up there on Friday. Americans kind of quiet. Interesting. It's I think it's called President's Day today, something like that down in the States. Thought we saw the actual name. Nope, I guess not. Anyway, one thing I suppose that stood out to me, and I think one of the reasons why we're seeing a relatively uppy market, is it looks like the Chinese have sort of opened their economy back up and things are ramping up again. Probably completely dodged the whole sort of what's one way to get out of a housing bubble? How about create a sickness that shuts the whole world's economy down for 2 or 3 years, lock everybody in their prison cells, and housing bubble? What housing bubble? I didn't know there was a credit bubble. Oh, yeah, okay. Whatever. Quite often what I found in my experience in 30 years in the market is people stay focused on an issue, and then after, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 months or something along those lines, then all of a sudden people sort of like, well, that's yesterday news, not that interested in it anymore. Well, I get that distinct impression that's exactly what happened with that housing bubble there in China. I mean, technically those real estate development, I mean, all the cities, they were empty cities. Nothing's changed with any of that, but notice nobody's talking about that stuff anymore. It's fascinating. Maybe it will come home to roost down the road. Who knows? If I understand correctly, with the American markets being closed, Europeans generally feeling a little bit more optimistic. Mr. Biden's over there in Eastern Europe. I'm not exactly sure where he's speaking, but most of the news headlines were talking about, was he actually in Kiev? Did he actually go to Ukraine? That's pretty dangerous. But nonetheless, and I get the impression it was almost like a bit of a morale boost, and Mr. Putin is looking more and more tenuous with every passing day. And you see headlines about things like, I thought it was interesting, the AP headline. So Putin's Ukraine gambit seen as the biggest threat to his rule. And actually it was interesting, there was a video that I saw of him that he was meeting with the Belarus little dictator, despot guy. And he couldn't stop fidgeting. He couldn't stop moving his feet and his legs and stuff like that. And he was gripping the chair really tightly with one of his arms. So the scuttlebutt is there's something sort of medically wrong with him. No idea what. It's probably Tourette's. But anyway. So not a lot we can comment on about stock markets in particular, other than like the talk, if you will, is that things are looking a little grim over there in Russia. I think on the initial move, and then the way Putin had set everything up, that it looked like Russia was going to do fine economically through this. That's kind of waning now. And I think it's starting to weigh on things like the Russian economy and the Russian ruble. Europeans feeling a little bit more optimistic. Their natural gas markets, obviously a huge driver as to sort of the morale of Europe. I suppose tomorrow we'll hear from Sjord and hear how life's in Europe at present. We always talk about copper as a professor of economics, so it's interesting how they've basically ramped copper prices up. It's a bit ironic. When I first got into the business, and it's an excellent sort of tell on the bankster class and the way that they hyperinflate our economies once every 80 years. For almost my entire sort of youthful duration in the market, copper prices sat between about 65 cents a pound and $1.25 a pound, and now you can see that $4.15 a pound, and that's sort of like, I guess, the new normal. So there's such a good example of this hyperinflation sort of jacking up prices to move on to the next cycle, Great Reset, Klaus, and all that kind of nonsense. The theme of today, I suppose the good part about it, and actually I was watching the YouTube and all the kids on YouTube and stuff. The number of crypto related and trading related sites is and channels and stuff is quite dramatic. Anyway, listening to them yesterday, of course, yesterday morning we had a wicked pump up in price, and then the market just melted down. It caught them all long, I suppose, as Asia was sort of packing it up, and we were transitioning into sort of the North American market, and North American market's kind of sanguine right now. And you can see how price had to basically swoon, almost basically right through the entire North American market. As soon as Asia came back online, we started to ramp right back up, and of course they're talking about China. You guys have heard all the talk about KuCoin of late. Korea being, of course, right next door to China. And of course, North Korea is doing tons of hacking and stuff in this space. So. But it kind of makes sense right now, seeing this kind of price action. I did the video yesterday, and I had sort of said, well, I'm going to head off to Liam now. My expectation is we're probably going to be stuck within this expanding wedge kind of trend line structure. It turns out we actually had to go a little bit lower, and of course they got all the kids all freaking out. Interesting how the dip in price did nothing more than just take us into reload zones. And then jackknife it right away, and then bring it right back up to this top trend line. So, I interestingly enough, I had sort of said, well, I think we're going to be nice and politely contained, and technically we were, but you can see they had like I guess this is a 9-minute chart, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars where the wheels kind of fell off the bus, and then they quickly rectified the situation. So that's kind of interesting they did that. Super volatile. And I was also mentioning that I was interested in things like Ethereum, big bot setups. But I don't know. I mean, I was looking at the price chart this morning. Same sort of thing. We broke down, rallied back up. And what I don't like about this chart, actually, I'd be curious to see. Let's see if any of my messaging to you people is getting through. What do you see more on this chart? Do you see more M's or do you see more W's? And Nicholas is saying here that BUSD is probably going to blow up tomorrow. Yeah, so Sean says M's, and I gotta agree with him. You know, there's an M there. There's all this ME action in here. This ME here. This M right here. Then another M. I mean, there's a bit of a W there, but these lows straight off the bottom, straight off the bottom, straight off the bottom, straight off the bottom, straight off the bottom. And I suppose we had this top straight off the top. This, to me, it's kind of speaking to me, you know, and, you know, after a while you'll do this. You'll sort of start to listen to the message of the market. And, you know, one thing that I've noticed over time is in bear markets you will see more M's and more V bottoms, and in bull markets you'll see more W's and more V tops. So I suppose you could argue we were feeling very bullish here, like a beautiful W bottoms, higher highs and higher lows, and then V tops, but then something shifted here. Anyway, so if we zoom to sort of real time, what the hell's going on in reality? You notice that if this is the best place to show you. Got a lot of these little names just going crazy here. And if anything, great hallmark of an altcoin face-rippy market. Woke up to just a ton of green on the screen here. Some of these names wanted to get in, but unfortunately being left behind, which is a little bit of a bummer. Other names, I think I was able to sneak in on some of these on the 12th of February. Where the hell's the 12th of February? Yeah, so there's the 12th. It doesn't look like I was able to get in on this guy, which is a little bit disappointing. But we were able to sneak in that guy. He looks like he's pointing up. That EOS sure looks good. KMD, I think this is one of Eddie's favorites. That guy's rocking and rolling. Interesting how the lit, they were just like, that's a bridge too far. Remember we had that fun conversation yesterday about whether I should be a little old lady banging out doubles or should be a gnarly pit trader and just banging out the bots. So interesting how that bot level was hit and she stalled out here. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. You know where the fireworks are? It's on these guys. Actually, I think, like, yeah, these. Oh boy, here we go with this crazy one. Don't really even want to say this one's name. I don't even know what the hell the name of it is. Come Inu, what the hell is that? All I know is, damn, what a looking chart. Holy crap on a stick. So what a big surprise. There she goes. Don't be surprised if you see this one go crazy. Also, too, I noticed this is another one of Zugi's. Just the prettiest charts. Just beautiful W's, and away they go. So, pretty interesting uppy market. Look at that. Ooh, that guy's just getting ready to go there, right? Look at that chart. So pretty. Up, up, and away. So I hope you guys got your plans in order and you're getting in there, buying the weekly W's. Figure out what it is that's going to get you to act and act. Actually, it looks like Cripple here is trying to perk back up, so that's kind of interesting. Anyway, so woke up to a lot of green on the screen. Now I'm a little bit concerned. You know, it's probably like almost maybe too much green. We head into the North American session. And maybe we need to take a bit of a pause here. Also, too, it's a little bit scary that Biden's just like going straight to the war zone, getting himself into trouble there. I sure hope he doesn't get himself hurt. So, you know, as I said there a moment ago, I was interested. You know, I would have preferred, to be honest with you, seeing the market break out through the top here. The fact that this rally came in right into this level and then literally stalled again, I think we talked about this before. Candle body highs for trade location. And if you want something, you know, this is a new video. It's free. You know, well, if you're relatively new to the channel, that's what I meant. It's free, so you want some free information, education. I mean, write this down. Take a screenshot of this. It's remarkable all these darn candle body highs for a trade location. I mean, look at that. Had you shorted that, trading God. Had you shorted that, trading God. Shorted that, trading God? Uh-oh. So, quite remarkable, really. We'll see how it goes here. A little bit skeptical. To be honest with you, if this is a bull, it should have just punched right out through the top here. The fact that it didn't, and now we're stalling a little bit here, it's got to be a bit of a concern. Okay, I'm not quite sure why is the stock market stuff posting here. There's stock markets. You can see they're all closed here today, so there's just not much going on in stock land. So don't really need to talk too much about that. Here's our crypto list. I guess, just popping back on over. Remember I had said there earlier, I was interested in the Ethereum chart. You can kind of see, and actually I heard another person talking about this. There's also something maybe you can write down, take away from this meeting, is this looks like a cup and handle. So there's your cup. We can get that to cooperate. Down to there. And this looks like a nice little handle. Is it there to there? Probably. Something like that. So, again, this is kind of like Bitcoin. If we can punch through the top here, then off to the races we go. But first you got to punch through the top. You can't put the cart before the horse. I think yesterday, like I was saying, if we wanted to bot this out, there are the bot levels. I had 1 kilo, 2 kilos, 3 kilos. Looks like that low broke through that low. So 2, 3, maybe. Actually did up a really cool chart, I think about a few days ago, and it was Colin, and he was sort of saying that he was thinking something like that, and then if this thing is a bull, we go. So interesting. That's a nice solid kilo now. But same sort of thing, we really want to see this thing bust out through the top here. And I really didn't like when I loaded up this morning that into this big rally event window, right? They just smacked it right back down. Boosh, ouch. So a little bit skeptical, to be honest with you. I think if anything, what I want to do, considering North American session, I don't think the North Americans are really driving the rally bus right now. I think it is primarily the Asian markets. Probably want to keep an eye on, can Ethereum come down into this window here, good old reload zones, and actually start to turn. And, if anything, what I'd probably want to do, it's a 9-minute chart, so it's awfully low time frame. But keep an eye on how this candle body low develops. In fact, maybe even if we look at an hourly chart, yeah, interesting. Candle body lows for trade location. So kind of like what we did with the Bitcoin chart yesterday. I'll leave this on the chart right there. That's where I think that they want to take them. That closing bar, this is the tether. So I don't know whether it's the same as there is the cash market on stamp. That's 1670 area. That closed 1670.90. So let's call it 1671, something like that. And on the tether market, that is 1669. Let's call it 1670, somewhere in that area. And if anything, this almost looks like an A, B, C, D. Are we going to probe down in here? Was that probe the end of that A, B, C, D? I don't know. That's a tough one. Also, too, this kind of looks like a shark. So, if that's the case, man, that's a tough one. Man. I think it's shark harmonics, but I guess it looks a bit sloppy. So, I guess sort of circling around. This was the image that I had on yesterday. When I look at this, the fact that we made this new high, that does lead me to believe that we could push higher here. And of course, candle body highs for trade location. Sure like that stab up to about 2,500 and change. let's see if I have that. Yeah, here we are. So this is sort of the updated version of that chart with today's data. So reason why I kept this is because I did say yesterday that I wanted to look back after my day with Liam and just review with you guys, what this was going to look like, after the fact. So this is what I'm sort of seeing right now. So cliche. I mean, again, if you want information from this channel that'll help you make good trade decisions, there it is in glorious Technicolor. That's your message. I think should we have a message of the day? That's not a bad idea. Candle body highs for trade location. In fact, I think I even have a... there you are. Candle body high low for trade location. Candle body high low. Right? So we can even write it right on the darn screen there. I mean, that's... it's funny. You listen to these channels, and of course, a lot of the kids in the space talk a lot of fundamentals, and they're going, "Here's alpha. Here's alpha. I'm alpha man. Alpha. Here's some alpha," and all that kind of crazy talk. Well, there you go. I'm gonna join the YouTube kids. There's some alpha. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. So that's a hell of a level right there. I do like the idea that this pattern that happened overnight actually carved out a very interesting inverted head and shoulders pattern. So if this is a valid inverted head and shoulders, then our price objective should be right up top here. And interesting, we had talked about this yesterday, that the bot, the really, like 4 hour kind of like huge formation. And keep in mind, when I used to, I would probably consider this more like a swing trade. Let's see if we can get a chart that you can see, something like that. So bottom end of your range, A, B. I don't know whether we want to take too much time in writing all this stuff up, but A to B. And then trend continuation pattern, C to D. Something like that. Boom, 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 boom. 27 and change. But remember we had talked about this yesterday, and I find it quite amusing. Who's going to win here? Do algos win, or do gnarly old pit traders win? So this line right here represents gnarly old pit traders buy level on Bitcoin. And move stop to scratch basically on a test of this previous high. You get to basically go, okay, phew, I'm not going to get hurt by this trade. I'll move my stop to scratch and we'll just live with the results. Versus Mr. Algo, I'm long, I sold, I'm back in. And basically we've done absolutely nothing here for the past 24, 48 hours, which makes sense. It's not really that big of a surprise. And interestingly enough, I think I even made reference, as long as this low held in here, we were still painting higher highs and higher lows. Now, the fact that we did come all the way down here actually does break that. So that does sort of throw a wrench into the works. If anything, what we really need to see is, can we please punch out through the top here? So we go higher high, higher low, higher high, and the trend can continue. If we am out here and roll over, there could be a bit of selling here ahead of us, folks. So just be cognizant of that. Just over the short term here, what I did find fascinating was there's that panic dump low there. So yeah, we did go through it. We actually came back and tagged the original bottoming pattern. Maybe that's where, our level 1 instructor, he loves to place his orders sort of like at this will break out, and then he places his order right down in this area. So on any kind of Wyckoff check, candle body lows, wicks and tails like to be eaten in these areas here, he'd be interested. Which isn't a bad approach. So, I guess what I'm seeing right now here is, the Asian session. The Asians came back online. They bid the market up. I think on balance, the Chinese market, in our stock pickers club, we have lots and lots of Chinese names in the books that are putting in bottoms and rallying. I'm not really a big fan of that market. I think you all know why. If anything, actually, this ABCD, I think because of this new low, I think we're going to have to draw it off of there now. So something along those lines. And actually, that would kind of, maybe that's not relevant anymore. Probably if this is a ABCD, we got to go there to there. And then there to there. So something along those lines now, and that's assuming that this low holds. I don't know whether it will or not. So, it's not something that you wake up and you go, oh my God, that's a screaming buy. It's sort of like, I think I'll just leave this stuff alone. If I was manually trading, like I said, I would be long from this area down here, say 24,000. With stops, I'd move right now. Still, the stop is actually at this low here, so we haven't even broken that yet. And I'd have permission to move my stop to scratch if we can pump up through the top here this evening. As I said, it's a holiday in the States. I don't think you're going to really see a hell of a lot of fireworks out of the U.S. Lots of sort of President's Day stuff. Europeans, they're obviously wrapped up in the whole war issue, so they're not really focused on crypto and all that kind of stuff right now. The Asians, they are sort of rah-rah crypto, and of course the Koreans, KuCoin. I'm sure if I go through the lounge and check in on the Romanians, you're probably going to see the Romanians are banging out a whole bunch of doubles and stuff this morning. One gentleman in particular, Julian, I think his name is. That guy's just a machine. It's remarkable to watch how many doubles that guy's been banging out on KuCoin. Somebody said over there they're seeing RSI divergences on YouTube. I suppose, you could make the argument. We haven't really broken to new highs here, so I would say that we have bearish potential. Actually, it's even confirmed too. So we have bearish structure working, and if anything, whenever I see MACD look like this scares me, because I like to call this like a MACD coil. And you usually get these just absolutely insane compressions of energy, and then they get expressed and all hell can break loose. So actually considering 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, are we starting to get this? We should see wild gyration up and down through here, probably against these trend lines. If anything, this is probably an orderly expression of this. Sometimes, and I suppose you could argue this is a good example, sometimes when these coils resolve, this is exactly what I'm fearful of, is you get this wild gyration where the price just goes absolutely crazy following one of these compressions. So I hope we're not in store for something like that. If anything, I would prefer that we just stick within these trend lines, but keep your eyes peeled. The energy is compressing in this market, and you could see some fireworks here, folks. In fact, we're even a bit overdue, to be honest with you, from my perspective. I don't know whether that's fireworks to the upside or the downside. In fact, probably the best way to see this, is now keep in mind this is like an hourly chart, but can you see how RSI is compressing? Again, you want some more alpha? That crazy Brian guy giving you alpha out the butt, whatever the hell that means. Notice how RSI is compressing in here on the Bollinger Bands. So there is another example. This is two examples. You can use both the MACD compression thinking and the RSI, the bands, the Bollinger Bands on RSI compressing. There's two pieces of anecdotal evidence that are telling you price is getting ready to do something. And, I think I've told you this repeatedly. I don't think it's in anybody's best interest to get into the business of predicting the future. I will say one thing, though, and I don't know whether Sharktoshi's here or not, but his tanker buddy, who is calling for $7 trillion market cap by July 4th, holiday weekend, I think, something like that. Yeah, that guy might actually turn out to be true because, you look at it. In fact, actually, I thought it was really interesting. What are the news headlines that are coming down the pike here? This is why I started a little bit late this morning, because I always like to make sure I have sort of an idea of what the hell the sort of, the world's talking about news-wise. I was a bit surprised. I saw down here they are actually bringing up the sacred cows, that there's really no way that our Western society can continue with these absolutely over-the-top benefit programs for people who are elderly, and for the longest time you couldn't get elected if you even said something like, well, Social Security is, we're going to have to cut Social Security payments, or we're going to have to cut Medicaid payments. I mean, that was like political death. But I did find it interesting. Oh, look at what we've got here. Associated Press is starting to bring this conversation to the head. And this is really, what the hell's this? Okay, that's not exactly what I was trying to show you. Social Security and Medicare trouble. Why this comes up with this news headline, I have no idea. It's probably some bait and switch. But
FYI, Brian, we're about 1 minute past 30 minutes. Just
all right, thanks, sir. It's a holiday today, and I will tell you this absolutely without a shadow of a doubt. The day that I'm stop interested and I don't have fun doing these videos anymore is the day I should stop doing this. So, I think thank you very much for that, for the update. But I'm not going to be too concerned about that right now. Yeah, I don't know where the hell it went. Anyway, I was reading it this morning. This is why half of the time you got to pull up these news articles or they just mysteriously disappear. But the point of the matter here is that this conversation has got to get back on the table. And what I would just simply say is my hunch is that this is going to be one hell of a political football. And unfortunately, it's just not sustainable. I mean, you heard Granny. What pisses you off about these damn banksters is that when interest rates were really low, Granny and all those people were going like, oh, go and borrow all the money you possibly can. Borrow more. Interest rates will never go up. Was that a trap? Were they conning us? Granny, are you serious? You spent your whole life working in the economics profession being a bankster and you don't know about cycles? I mean, what the hell? It makes no sense. Anyway, all these banksters have clearly said, the path that we're on is unsustainable. So maybe we're in that window now, and I am starting to see people on social media and stuff now starting to call for a crash in the U.S. dollar. And I don't think it's necessarily going to be in the U.S. dollar fiat system. I think they're all going to crash in unison. It's ebb and flow, ebb and flow, ebb and flow. How do you get your Bitcoin to $1 million? Well, it's through, this kind of political football where all hell breaks loose because they start threatening to cut Medicare, Medicaid, and then, of course, the politicians will eventually acquiesce and say, all right, fine, we're not going to cut it because you're all going to cut our heads off and all that crap. And so we have to go and print a gazillion more dollars, hyperinflation, the whole damn cycle kicks off, and here we are now. Bitcoin's $200,000 a Bitcoin, and then people are scratching their heads, going, "How on earth did that happen?" Well, duh. I mean, that's the one thing that bugs me about our society is it's so obvious why things are the way that they are. But anyway, Okay, so rant. As I said, I'm a little skeptical about this holiday session. I did see that Asia is catching a bit of a bid, and I think that's obviously helped the crypto market, so that's good. If anything, this is like, we'll call this the KuCoin rally. So you just want those Asians to get in there and just keep buying and buying and buying and buying. And okay, fine, we'll take the market higher. And as I speak, they're bidding this market up. Think I needed to see a little bit more anecdotal evidence from the market itself to make me want to go and add new positions here. Like I said, I am going to be watching this Ethereum closely through the day. In the face of those M's. All right, in the face of those M's, I think I'm probably going to cool my jets a little bit. I'm not really in a big hurry. And if anything, we'll carry on this conversation, maybe go look at the individual coins in detail and review where we should be placing sell orders and buy orders and all that kind of fun stuff in the after party. So why don't we leave it at that? What time is it? 9:43. Yeah, that's about 35 minutes. Everybody keep an eye on your news. It looks like they're about to go crazy. PMA for the win. Enjoy the KuCoin rally, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Hopefully you guys are out there making piles of money trading crypto. Slow and steady wins the race. Oh, look at that KMD starting to perk up here. Yeah, look out. All right, why don't we leave it at that? Have yourselves a great day. I hope you enjoyed the fun little video overlay that we're experimenting with right now. All the best. And the only thing left for Brian to say at this point is bye for now.